Game jams. The most stressful 48 to 72 hours you'll probably ever subject yourself to on purpose. But why? Why would you ever want to do a game jam when they're so difficult, distracting, and stress-inducing? Well, before I answer that, maybe you don't even know what a game jam is. So let's explain. A game jam is simply an event for game developers of all levels, where the objective is usually to create a game from scratch or near scratch within an allotted amount of time. The rules differ from jam to jam, but usually you'll have a theme revealed when the jam starts to base your game on. This helps drive creativity, limit scope, and maybe most importantly, helps the more competitive jams weed out competitors who may have cheated and submitted their games they've been previously working on. Some jams can be as short as 1 hour and as long as a month, but most are within 48 to 72 hours. Some jams allow teams and others are solo, some allow pre-made or purchase assets and others don't. But all jams have one thing in common: the goal is always to make a game from beginning to end. And that's the most important thing in game development, isn't it? So let's get back to the video. Why should you as an indie developer care about game jams? Let's make a list. That's still a cool thing they do on YouTube, right? So number 1, game jams are the best way to learn to plan, execute, and actually finish games. Games are notoriously hard to make. According to a very reliable human on the internet somewhere, I read at one point, only 1 in 1,000 games started are ever actually released. And that's probably pretty accurate, I think. So if a game jam helps you learn to stick to a project till the end, even if that project is only a week-long endeavor, that's experience to put toward a bigger, more marketable game. And finishing the actual game is arguably the hardest part anyway. Most devs never even get to the chance to practice the act of finishing and releasing a game, patching, hotfixing, dealing with customers and reviews. That part is mostly a mystery to devs. Game jams give you a taste of that experience before you launch a much bigger, much more serious, much more stressful game. Number 2, game jams get you out of a rut. Have you ever just felt bored of working on your game, or maybe you just can't think of what to make? Maybe you're working on your 5th platform and you're just not sure what more you can bring to the table. Join a game jam. Oftentimes, if a jam theme is creative enough, you'll likely be forced out of your comfort zone to make something new. And since the time commitment for a game jam is so short, who cares if you waste a weekend trying to make a visual novel MMO or the world's first street sweeper simulator? Number 3, game jams are great learning experiences. No matter what game jam you enter or what you make, you'll likely learn something important. Like, you hate making first-person shooters, or you hate game jams altogether. Nah, I hope that's not what you learned, but last week I participated in a sponsored game jam where I made a first-person platformer game, and my Twitch chat decided that we should use voxel art for the environment. In about an hour, I learned the basics of Magica Voxel, a pretty cool voxel art software. And while I may never use it again, it was a pretty fun experience, and now I have one more piece of 3D software under my belt for future reference. Sometimes learning a new software within a deadline can really help you focus and challenge yourself. Number 4, exposure and feedback. One of the best parts of a game jam is getting actual feedback from other game developers and players on your submission. Sometimes we don't realize how bad we are at teaching players to play our games, or we make assumptions about what our players should or shouldn't know. Game jams are such a good way to learn what your strengths and weaknesses are and how to work on some of those skills you're lacking in. But don't forget to give feedback as well. It's a two-way street. And stick around, because I'm going to blow your mind with a tip on how to leave constructive criticism that people actually listen to near the end of the video. It's not really that mind-blowing, but if you don't say that kind of stuff on YouTube, then the YouTube police will come and hide my video in the basement where people can't find it. Number 5, they're fun and you get to meet new people. Back in the olden days when you could go places and meet people in public, some game jams were held in big gymnasiums or computer labs, where people would actually gather together to meet fellow game devs and team up to jam together for a weekend. While my introvert license doesn't allow me to attend functions like that, it sounds super fun, and I really hope I'm able to attend a local jam here in Seattle in the future. And even if you're not attending an in-person jam, you can still meet new people. Teaming up with other devs within a community can be the best part of a game jam. Working with someone new and being part of a team can be a ton of fun and can blossom friendships or even future projects you never expected. Number 6, just plain old pride. Sometimes a boost of confidence can go a long way. I remember the first time I competed in Ludum Dare, or Ludum Dare, or however you want to pronounce it. It was also the first time I ever actually finished an entire game, and boy was I proud. I shared that game around to everyone I knew, and the confidence I got from finishing it pushed me into making more and more games, ultimately leading me to releasing an actual commercial title, which is called Swords and Magic and stuff, and you should buy it and play it because it's really super cool and fun. Alright, so now you're ready to join a game jam. Maybe your very first one, and that's awesome. But where do you go? How do you get started? Don't you worry, I've got you covered. I just so happen to be hosting a week-long game jam for the Kindred Games community, starting this weekend. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but no, this is just pure coincidence that I'm releasing this video about game jams right now. Please quit judging me. Head over to itch.io and join the Kindred Community Jam. We're giving away a $50 Steam gift card to the winning game, a subscription to Discord Nitro, and I'll be personally playing the top 3 games on stream after the jam. Check the top link in the description to sign up or to read more about the jam. And don't forget to vote on the theme. But wait, don't leave yet. I still want to give you some tips to make it through a game jam with less stress and more fun. So tip number 1, sleep. This sounds obvious, though maybe a bit counterintuitive, but honestly, unless you know that you work really well on very little sleep, just sleep during the jam when you normally would. Crunching before a deadline is so much easier when you're well rested and have a clear head. Number 2, plan. Most jams you won't know the theme beforehand, but if you have an idea of what the theme might be, start brainstorming. Even if you have no idea what the theme might be, get a few ideas for different genres and think through how you'll tackle different aspects before the jam starts. It'll get your creative juices flowing, as they say, and you'll perform better once the pistol pops. Number 3, prepare. Get your code libraries together, get some placeholder assets together for sound effects or button images, get everything you'll need for a generic game in place and ready to drop into your project. Number 4, design around a single mechanic. Once you know the theme, design one mechanic, not a whole game. Once you've got a solid understanding of how that mechanic will work and how you'll implement it, then you can start thinking about fun ways to spin it or add more secondary mechanics that you can layer on top. But focusing on one mechanic means you'll have a polished, playable game which automatically sets you ahead of the crowd in any game jam. Number 5, add a volume slider. If you're going to have time to get audio into your game, you better have time to get a volume slider of some sort. Even a mute button is fine for a game jam, but please don't destroy your players' ears. If you're not sure how to implement a volume slider, see tip number 2. Number 6, be a feedback pro. Giving feedback to other developers is one of the best things you can do to help them improve. But you gotta be classy about it. So here's my mind-blowing tip on how to get people to hear your feedback and take it seriously. Start out with a compliment. Always start out with a compliment. It immediately gives the developer a sense of comfort and trust because you like something about their game. If you can't find something about the game that you like, don't leave any feedback at all. I sound just like my mom. Next, slip in that constructive criticism. Constructive means it's got to be something you can actually help them fix, not just an opinion piece about how you don't care for platformers, so you thought the game was bad. Then you've got to make some suggestions on what you think they could do to improve it. You're a game developer after all, so help them out. Finally, finish up that compliment sandwich with a reminder of something they did well. One more compliment helps seal the deal, reminding them that they've still done something worth being proud of, but we can all improve. I know all that sounds like a bunch of work, but guess what? This time around in the Kindred Community Jam, we're doing a raffle for another prize, and leaving quality feedback is the best way to earn points toward that raffle. You don't even have to submit a game to win, just come play all the submitted games, leave quality feedback, and increase your chances. If you want to know what that prize is, check out the Game Jam link in the description. Alright, that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope I can catch your entry in the Kindred Games 6 Community Game Jam. I love playing all your games and seeing how everyone uses the theme. Also, let me know if you guys like more game dev focused videos like this. I mostly just do devlogs, but I wanted to maybe dip into more of this stuff if it's something you guys enjoy. Leave a comment below if you want more video content beyond just Swords and Magic. And while you're down there clicking around all willy-nilly, hit that red subscribe button so you can become the supreme leader of the internet, or whatever that button does. Okay, bye!